To talk to a topic that is very much relatable to our climate, our environment, and that topic is pollution. So, pollution is the addition of harmful things to the environment. And one of the main examples that I'm going to narrow down to, I already covered this in another video in which I discussed the topic of pollution and how the things that get into the air are called pollutants. But today we're gonna zoom into landfills and what is so bad about them. Because pollution is not just something that is, you know, a problem with fuels that contain a lot of energy and are easy to use, but and not only burning them can cause pollution. However, fossil fuels that are burned from gases and small pieces of solid go into the air. That, of course, is, the pollutants. They can make that air unhealthy, and this is definitely a problem to breathe. Some combine with drops of water to form acids. They fall to the ground as acid rain. We have factories that burn fossil fuels, causing air pollution. But sometimes fossil fuels harm the environment without being burned. Oil is often moved on big ships called tankers. Accidents may cause the oil to spill. An oil spill can damage the environment drastically. Did you know that in 1989, about 300,000 birds died from a major oil spill in Alaska? Human activities basically can pollute land. Each year, people in the United States produce hundreds of millions of tons of solid waste. And that is that spot, that right there. Zoom in, we're going to talk about that. Solid waste includes paper, plastics, and metals. Most solid waste is buried in places called landfills. Some is burned, but people sometimes dump solid waste along the roads. They throw waste into bodies of water too. So you can see pollution is not only something that is found in landfills. Unfortunately, we can encounter this. I have taken walks in different times of the day, and it's so sad to see. And some more like the city, you find clothes that are left on the sidewalk. You find cans, soda bottles, and wrappers, paper, all type of plastics. It's just so sad to see that kind of waste just dump on the streets, on the sidewalks. So the topic that I'm going to focus on, like I said, is mainly landfills. If you can look at this picture right here. What happens to our old clothes? How a desert in South America became a giant dumping ground for fast fashion. This is an article that relates to our discussion in the science topic of pollution. And believe it or not, this is pretty sad. You can see 76 pounds. That's how much clothing the average American throws out each year. These are studies that have been done, and people have visited. They have investigated and done videos and um, studies on different parts of the world where you would find a desert to use as a dumpster. Like in this case, you can see how this is such a big problem and how many clothes, there are piles and piles of clothes. So the Atacama Desert has been known for its scenic landscape, but it's quickly becoming a landfill for unwanted clothes. This is a focus that we're going to talk about today, the Atacama Desert in northern Chile. The Chilean desert in South America. Basically, it's pretty sad to see this. That says Chile doesn't get much water. It's one of the driest places on earth. Each year, it rains about half an inch. But the Atacama does get a lot of something else, unwanted clothes. Mountains of jeans and sneakers lie under their strong desert sun. Bathing suits and hoodies are pile high. The desert clothing dump is nearby as wide as 580 football fields. And it's pretty sad how did it all get there? Okay. So that's a trashy problem. Most of the garments in the Atacama Desert are fast fashion. That's what they describe them as. This term describes clothes that are trendy and cheap to buy. Shein and H&M are examples of large fast fashion companies. And they did this study to show how, these specific companies that sell this fast fashion at such a reasonable, very cheap price, how a lot of people buy more clothes than they probably should, because they're so cheap to buy. So they make items quickly and cheaply. This allows them to add new styles to stores and websites every day. In this way, fashion has made it easier than ever for people to buy the latest looks. But it's also creating a huge problem. So the problem is, as you can see depicted in the picture, how people are wasting, throwing so many clothes, making this, disposing of unwanted clothes, and it's becoming a huge landfill. Americans now buy 5 times more clothing than they did in 30 years ago. At the same time, we only wear these pieces for half as long. The average person tosses out 76 pounds of clothing a year. Fast fashion companies don't sell everything they make either. Items may end up damaged or go out of style. So, what happens to all these unwanted clothing items? Some end up in landfills. So, as you can see, this is not something that it's only caused by the people, but it's also sometimes by the companies that they're getting rid of unwanted clothes, maybe, out of style, if they don't resell them or send them to like other stores that they might sell like out of style clothes. Others are packed up on the sent to countries like Chile. In Chile, clothes are sorted, and some are sold in local markets. Anything not sold is shipped out to the desert. Imagine that. So, looking for a solution. So, this is the problem. What happens to clothes? That either the stores, the companies have no need for it in terms of the fact that they're out of style, or that they have excessive amounts because of the production in fashion. So, looking for solutions, people in Chile have been looking for ways to use all these old clothes. One company turns the garment into insulation pads to keep homes warm. Another company makes recycled yarn. But some people say these solutions aren't enough. Many clothing factories pollute the environment, and some garments can take hundreds of years to break down in landfills. Instead of finding new uses for toss out clothes, experts say fewer clothes need to be made in the first place. One way to help is to shop less. Before buying something, ask yourself, do I really need this? You can also look for creative ways to fill your closet. Swap clothing with friends. Wow, they're suggesting that as a solution. Check out thrift stores. It could help save the planet and save your money too. So those are some solutions that are suggested from this study that they did, and how a desert in South America became a giant dumping ground for fast fashion. This was written by Alex Lim Chua Wee. So, why is fast fashion bad for the planet? That is the question that I'm going to leave you with for you to ponder upon and discuss with your groups, with your peers, and say, is this truly a problem in your life? And to what extent? Obviously, they're not talking about every single person, being excessive and their expending of fast and buying of fast, trendy, and cheapy fast fashion. They are basically looking at how this has become a problem because there are more companies now that made this fast fashion so accessible at such affordable prices. And what ends up being is that I know a lot of people just want to keep up with the trend, these changes of new styles, and they dispose of the clothes in a way that perhaps is not the safest for the environment. So I hope that you really enjoy this topic. Please subscribe if you like to learn about this for students, especially for the academy students that are joining, or any other students that are following along with me in this topic of a real issue. Um, One of the suggestions, now that you have heard about this problem and this real life situation, write a paragraph to answer this question. Teachers, find our paragraph writing templates. I am going to be attaching some links of different ways that they can, pre-write about this question. Why is fast fashion brand bad for the planet? Why is fast fashion bad for the planet? And another thing you could do is, you could do an extended learning activity in which you do your own inquiry in your community to find out how do people handle this situation with, fast fashion. How does it impact the trendy, cheapy clothes? Is it a problem? To what degree? Or you could even investigate how popular Shein and H&M and other companies that are fast fashion companies, and what happens to clothes. Or think about what I just described when I was talking about the basic